Hey everybody, it's me again. I'm back here with another video. I apologize for the light issues here, but like I said before, kind of bear with me until I get into a place where I can actually start doing these videos normally and with decent lighting and maybe back at home and stuff like that where you're used to seeing me. But yes, I am here at work again. The building's right over here besides me. Besides me? Yeah, that's great. Anyway, and I do apologize that this video is late. But nothing really I can do about it. Yesterday was crazy. We had a whole Thanksgiving thing going on here at work yesterday, so we did a food drive and I had to bring in canned goods yesterday. So I had so much stuff I had to carry, and I really just didn't have time nor the ability to really carry the camera with me and do this video. So sorry, but it's kind of the way it had to be. I apologize, but Alright, so this time I'm going to change things up a little bit. If you guys remember, if you've been following me for a while, I used to do measurements rather than weight. Well, this week I was doing some cleaning, and I came across my old notebook where I used to keep the measurements. So I talked to my wife about it, and we did measurements again this week. So I'm going to go through these measurements again. Again, if you remember these, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I'm going to go down the list, starting off with my right bicep. Back on April 17th, which was the last time I did measurements, my right bicep was 23 inches. Still 23 inches. No change there. Right wrist was 8 inches. Still 8 inches. No change there. Now's when things start getting interesting. My neck back on April 17th measured in at 25 inches around. It is now at 22, a loss of 3 inches since April 17th. This was done just last night, so November 14th, I think, something like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We've got my chest. Back on April 17th, measured in at 73 inches. It now measures in at 66.5 inches, a loss of 6.5 inches around my chest. My waist. This was kind of the biggest change here. Actually, you know what? We'll say that one for last. My right leg around the thigh was measured in on April 17th at 36 inches. It's now at 33. My right calf measured in on the 17th at 27 and now measures in at 25. Now I do still have the water retention issues that I had back then. So all things considered, it's kind of hard to tell if that's actually a good thing or not, because who knows if I'm going to start retaining water again and my legs are going to balloon back up. But still looks good. But anyway, let's go back to the waist. My waist back on April 17th measured 74 inches. A fact that I am not happy to report. Not at all, really. But what I am happy to report is it now weighs in at, or measures in rather, at 67 inches. 67. That's a loss of 7 inches in my waist. Now this is strange to me because I've pretty much been wearing the same clothes since I started losing weight. And I know my waist, if I remember correctly, when I first started losing weight, it measured in a little over 80 inches. So I've lost now probably around 20 inches of my waist, and it just doesn't seem like I have. My clothes don't seem to be fitting that much looser, or that much better, that much nicer, anything like that. Now, I will admit that the belt I use is an elastic belt, so maybe that's why I don't notice the difference in my waist. But I think that things like t-shirts and other shirts would probably fit a little bit better, because in both my chest and my waist are smaller than they were, 7 months ago? Sorry, it's kind of early, trying to do that math. But they don't really seem to be fitting better than they used to. So I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. It's just, it is what it is. But I did want to talk about that because I think that's pretty cool and kind of interesting. That has changed in that way. So that's pretty nice. Work is going pretty well. There's a lot of things still that I need to learn and I keep making mistakes as a result of that, and that really bothers me. As my wife would say, I'm a very big perfectionist when it comes to work. To look at me, you'd see a fat guy and you wouldn't think it, but I'm a very hard worker. Um, I have a high capacity for work. I can get a lot done. I am in my first period of training, and I'm honestly like processing more work every day than the rest of my new hire team is. And even actually, now that I've looked at it a couple of times, I'm even processing more daily than a lot of the other people that are working there that have been working there for a little while. Just because that's kind of the way I am. I mean, if you give me a job to do, I will do it to the best of my ability, and I will do it completely. And the fact that I'm having some difficulties and running into different issues that I'm not able to do well because I don't know how to do them, and I wasn't trained yet to do them, that's really bugging me. I mean, nobody's actually, like, yelling at me for getting things wrong. Actually, excuse me, in point of fact, actually, they've made mention a couple of times that, wow, I'm sorry. Anyway, they've actually made mention a couple of times that this is sort of expected. This is the way they do things. They want us to make mistakes so that they can tell us how to fix them. And that's how we would learn, but I don't like that style of learning. I don't like making mistakes and having to fix them. I'd rather know ahead of time. I'd rather you tell me what to do, and then I can do it. And then if I make a mistake, it's completely my fault. And I can take the licks and be aware of that issue. But when I don't even know what the issue is, and I think I'm doing things the way I should be doing them, and then it comes back and you tell me that I did something wrong, and it's just frustrating because I didn't know what I should have done at the time. And if you had told me beforehand, I wouldn't have made that mistake. So I don't know. It's bugging me. It really is. My wife keeps telling me not to let it bother me because, they obviously don't care. They're telling me that this is fine. But at the same time, it's just frustrating. But, yeah, the work is still the same. I mean, it's still pretty decent job. The people are pretty good. There's a gamer that sits next to me at work. I've talked to her a couple times about gaming. So that's kind of cool to have somebody that's a geek like me around. There's another geek that's in my training class that's a little bit less of a gaming geek, a bit more just sort of a general geek, I guess. So I've talked to him a couple times about a few things, and that's pretty cool. The other night when I was leaving work, one of my coworkers was talking about different books they'd read, and I got to talking to them about that. And had the opportunity to suggest a few books that they hadn't read, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm starting to like things here a decent amount, so that's good. Somebody pulling in now in a big old Jeep. Looks like they could probably tenderize a few things with those tires, but whatever. To each their own. If that's what you like to drive, that's what you like to drive. But yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, this week for lunches, I don't know if I think I mentioned this last week, that this was the plan, but this week for lunches I've been eating a black bean soup that I made over the weekend, with a little bit of fat-free sour cream and a little bit of low-fat cheddar cheese, some boneless, skinless chicken that I grilled off, and I'm trying to remember the name of them. Something that my wife found. It's these oat crisps. I think they're made by Quaker, maybe? I'm not sure. But they're sort of my crunchy snack for the week. There was a sweet version that she got me that had maybe like a brown sugar glaze or caramel glaze or something. They were good. And this today, actually, is going to be the first time that I'm going to try a cheddar cheese version that she bought. I know she checked them out, and they're not too many points. I really wish I could remember what the brand was and what they were actually called. I'm really sorry. Hopefully, by the time I post this, I can look it up and find out, and I'll put it down below. But I usually don't do too much editing on these videos. I just post them, so I might not do that. I'm just being honest. Kind of lazy in that way, I guess. But if I do think about it, and I do have the time, and I do take the effort, or put in the effort, then I will do that. I'm really sorry. Like I said, it's early. I haven't been up for very long, so I'm a little tired. I didn't sleep really great last night anyway. But anyway, enough excuses. Next week is Thanksgiving, so let's talk a little bit about that. Thanksgiving, in my estimation, is not a hobby where you should really necessarily be on a strict diet. I mean, it's a holiday all about being thankful for the things that you have, getting together with family, and enjoying a meal. And I don't think you can really get together and enjoy a meal if you're thinking about every little thing that you're eating. How many points it is. Is it going to be bad for me? Is it going to make me fat? Is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? No. I don't think that's a good plan. I really don't. I think that's too much to deal with for a holiday. I think it's too much to deal with just in general. So my basic plan is to go ahead and make, because I make Thanksgiving dinner, I am going to make the standard things that I've made for years. That will be turkey, mashed potatoes, real mashed potatoes, gravy. I will make green bean casserole. I will make rolls. I will make homemade stuffing. I will make pumpkin pie. I will make all these things. My wife will make her gross, disgusting yams that I can't stand. I hate those things. I do not enjoy them at all. I think they're far too sweet. I don't like really sweet potatoes or yams in general anyway, so, you know, whatever, to each their own. But, yeah, I'm going to be making all these things. Yes, I'm going to make a few minor substitutions. In years past, I would have used lots of real butter and whole milk to make my mashed potatoes. This year, I have decided to use fat-free sour cream instead. I think it'll make the potatoes taste better anyway, and it's 0 points. So, yeah, I think that'll be good. And probably just a little bit of margarine or something instead. It'll make them taste rich. It'll give them that creamy texture that I'm looking for, but it won't be like a ton of extra calories, a ton of extra stuff. When I make my green bean casserole, instead of being, you know, your standard cream of mushroom soup and everything, I'm going to use a low-fat, low-calorie cream of mushroom soup that I found. And then, trying to think of what else. My stuffing. Stuffing is really going to be hard. It's really hard to do anything weird to. I mean, it's just basically bread cubes, chicken broth, and vegetables. Now, in the past, I did use a decent amount of real butter in my stuffing. Maybe a stick or two of melted butter that I would pour in there. But I made like huge amounts. 2 huge 13 by 9 pans or so. So I know it sounds like a lot of butter, but it really isn't when I made so much. I'm probably not going to do that this year. Probably going to go ahead and do margarine or something in there, and maybe just like a half a cup or so, just a little bit for flavor, not really going too crazy with it. Yeah, that's pretty much about it, really. Everything else is pretty much going to be normal. I'm not changing any other recipes at all, and I think the big thing is just I'm just not going to eat a lot. In previous years, when it was Thanksgiving, I would just gorge myself like if it was no tomorrow, like I wasn't ever going to eat again. Like tomorrow was the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, and I needed to stock up on food in my body or something. It was crazy. I would always eat far, far too much. There would be times where there would be snacks out during the day, and I would have cheese ball and snack mix and cream cheese on celery, peanut butter on celery, and various dips and cookies and all these different things during the day while watching football and hanging out with family. And then we would have the actual Thanksgiving meal, and I would just eat 2 helpings of everything. And then we would leave with our, requisite plates of food, or the last few years when I've been doing it at our house, after everyone would leave and all of our leftovers were packed up in the fridge, everybody would be gone for about an hour or two before I would start raiding the fridge and grabbing out, making a sandwich or just snacking on leftovers. It kind of got a little bit ridiculous for several years there, to the point to where I would actually go to bed in agony, so uncomfortable because I was so full. I will not be doing that this year. We didn't even buy any sort of snack foods to have during the day before the actual meal, so that's going to be cut out entirely. The meal itself, I'm making less food this year than I have in years past, so I will have my normal plate of food, just a regular dinner plate, and then yes, we will have leftovers, but those leftovers are going to go home with people for the most part, and I'm going to probably bring a plate to work because I do have to work the next day. But in general, yeah, I'm not going to really be eating leftovers. Definitely not the way I've done in years past. So anyway, it's about time for me to head into work, so I am going to cut this video here. I hope you enjoy it, and again, I apologize that it's late. It's Friday morning at 8 a.m., so I am going to try to upload this tonight when I get home. Alright, so that's it. Until next time, keep waging a war against your waistline. I am your portly paladin. Have a good one.